Bullish trend in play.
All right, Carlos here from Omegavus Trend and Omegavus Forecast Mastery with a follow-up video from today's early forecasting outlook for the Nasdaq Futures. And earlier today, we went and shared on our forecast here the process of what we were looking for. And basically, we were looking for a potential Nasdaq buy setup on the swing side, but I was explicitly explaining that there is a potential for a massive pullback to key support levels that we could capitalize on. I did a follow-up 1 hour later on the output of that potential trade setup on micro contracts. You can see it right here. And the market just went into support synergy zone number 1. There's the number 2. Obviously, we didn't even come close to the weekly or level 3. The market stopped on a dime, and I hit the trail stop with a little bit of a wins right there. And from there on, the opportunity kind of presented itself into
Bullish
the buy mode.
trend
And
in
here's
play.
the buy mode. I'm going back into the 1 hour chart, and you can see the market went into the support zone number 1 as predicted based on the early stages of the forecast. That has nothing to do with the OT. Now, I went into the 50-minute chart, and as the market went into the zone number 1, the market got right into it and off of it. And by the time that I was able to see the NQ validated from M1 all the way to the day 1 or daily, then I went on and took the plunge and placed my stop, which I haven't changed, below the zone itself. That's where the stop should be, right? Now, rest assured, what do we mean about validation? Now, if you haven't checked, let me know you need access to the training. But basically, the way that the OT reads momentum is just a commitment of transactions in a certain direction or trend, and it's subdividing in 2 categories. And the first one is all the way from 15-minute to 1 minute. That's short-term scalpers, high-frequency algo trading. And then it's divided between M30 all the way to daily. That's position trading, family fund, all the big players, or big position swing trading analysis, right? These are like the big trends. So in other words, from all the way to M30 down, I will stretch it all the way to M15, but M30 down, it is the real true trend of the market, the real intention for in the long or prolonged period of time. And manipulation momentum in short-term concepts falls within 1 to M10 to M15 the most. All right. When those are subdivided, like gold, you can see gold here, long-term perspective bullish. Short-term is a killer bias, a little bit negative. Just imagine the market moving higher and taking a little bit of a break. Now, we, on top of that layer, add up the correlation of validation, meaning we need to see the VIX moving into negative ground. That hasn't happened today, but on the bigger time frame, it's still negative, but not as strong. But basically, you want to see a weaker or very weak VIX volatility index in correlation on the NQ or the ES, YM or Russell, which means the indices should move higher as the VIX get negative. That's normal. And that's the beauty of the OT, just help us dictate which direction the market is moving by color coding it. But on top of that, we have the formula of percentage of strength. Imagine a speedometer, right, of a car. And that basically, it tells you it's a strong bullish or weak bullish and whatnot. But basically, you want to see how committed the market is behind the move, right, if you will. So in those instances, that's for me the last layer for confirmation whenever I want to pull the trigger. So now we move our trail stop a little bit higher, like we're doing, like right now, we collect half of those positions like we're doing right now. And there you go. We just collected half of that. Worst case scenario, walk away on $60, right? Net after commissions and so on and so forth. But the overall tendency is that our targeting seems to be of the 25 to 73, 300, and 345. I'm betting and assuming that that's most likely the next potential wave of movement based on what I'm seeing on the OT. It's 134. There is absolutely no report coming up next today. So this is all based now purely on market move and intentions, right? It's purely based on structure of the market and validation of the market tendency, which as of right now, it seems to be bullish. And finally, the ES is backing this up into the same direction. And the ES is one of the leading indicators that we like to follow as Nasdaq traders, right? So in those states, basically, we also traded the ES, right? And we move the process to the upper side. So these are the micro E-minis. And then this is the zone that we expected the market to bounce from. And they just broke a massive zone to the upside with the first target, second target, and third target, right? So anyways, if we decided to trade, that's actually your call. Your call is to wait for the rejection of the market, see the market breaking free from it. Once AES was fully validated, then you can take a plunge. You want to go a little bit more aggressive, conservative, wait for the break of the zone, wait for the market to show the intentions and move along in that direction. So in this case would be a potential buying setup moving into the 230 session, what we call the reopen of the market. That will suffice for us to look for opportunities on the buy mode with the expectation for the E-mini S&P to hit the 6,800 and 6,810 to 13 area. Okay. So basically this is pretty much what we have so far. I'm going back into the MNQ, and so far this is the setup. We got a very short-term bias on the way down, but on the 4-hour chart, I'm most likely aligned into the swing side of things. And if this is the case, my stop on the swing side would be right below the synergy zone, and still should be right there. Since we already broke above that slingshot, I'm going to be using the prior support or previous levels as trail stop. So in other words, we already broke one, second one, so we can trail the stop below this zone right there. And that will be our confirmed last trail stop on the 4-hour chart, because I'm positioning myself into the swing side of things. Hope that kind of makes sense. We drop to 1 hour. This is kind of how it looks in 1 hour. Pretty sweet, very nice. We can actually trail to the break-even point now, because you see this propel movement into the 1 hour created a pullback, and we just broke above that structure. Now we can trust that this is one position that we can just move to break-even point, and now it's a risk-free trade. We're going to allow this until the end of the day and make sure we close everything before 5 o'clock EST time, so we don't get called out on margin and be fined $50 per micro contract, which kind of sucks, by the way. All right, so I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what your thoughts are. Share with me and on the comments below how you're using the OT for validation, what do you trade today, and how it went out for you. I'm here to help and share with everybody our journey towards professionals forecasting and trading with the markets. Cheers.